She was locked away for years on her own. Her room was empty. She destroyed everything around her. She couldn't even tolerate objects that were securely fixed in. She couldn't cope with anyone near her. She was truly alone. We visited her. She needed our help. She took control, expressed choices that made the difference to her. 4 years on, and she has a beautiful life that she has made her own, a life that matters and works for her. They said she couldn't communicate, so no one listened. We got to know her. We heard her. She showed us how. She now communicates with those around her and those she loves. Her person-specific living space has allowed her to take control of her environment and possessions. No one saw how his life was spent, enduring bullying and mistreatment. No one was there. He had no one to turn to and nowhere to run. Until we opened a uStep complex behaviour assisted living extra care service for vulnerable people. His plight became so bad, everyone realised, and he was able to move to a safe space where we have been able to help him move away from a life of cruelty. Now, he is no longer exposed to the cruelty of others. It's safe for him to laugh and be supported to learn. Living a life of constant fear and insecurity, those around her abusing and stealing from her, she struggled to cope, often left with no food for weeks at a time. She moved to a uStep complex behaviour assisted living extra care service for vulnerable people, where she was understood, helping and teaching her how to change the way she lived, transforming her life. Living safely away from abuse, she is now learning how to have courage and self-esteem. She is now able to live and be free to learn how to be herself. Diagnosed with bipolar so young, her behaviours exasperated by her home, she had no way of making friends, nor understanding where she fitted into society. Until she moved into a uStep complex behaviour assisted living extra care service for vulnerable people. Here, she is helped, living in her apartment, learning how to adapt herself to suppress her dramatic mental health mood swings, putting her psychotic attacks into the background of her life. She is now active and interested in living. She is controlling her behaviour and having fun. With her passion and love of animals, she's now active and free within her community, enjoying her voluntary job with a dog walking service. Now she has a great job, great fun, and a great life. Her mental health was shot to pieces. She was suffering. They said she couldn't live outside a secure environment because of her fragile relationships. Distraught with no stability, she felt totally alone and frightened, distrusting everyone. But when she moved to a uStep complex behaviour assisted living extra care service for vulnerable people, she began to find herself gaining in confidence and self-belief. She has grown. Moving her life on even further, having learnt how to trust with specialised support, she is now learning how to live safely, steadily gaining more independence. She has learnt to be comfortable in herself, building her life, making her home, going to college and gaining confidence in therapeutic work. She now knows life can be fun. He desperately wanted independence, but was refused by his residential home as he struggled to manage money, budgeting and bills. He moved into a uStep complex behaviour assisted living extra care service, where he has been supported to budget and manage his own money independently. It has been a difficult journey, but he now feels in control of his own life. He pays all of his bills on time and has even started some savings, which will come in handy as he is now planning to marry his long-term girlfriend. He was so aggressive, His dangerous behaviours were such a threat for anyone around him, no one wanted to live anywhere near him. Until he moved to a uStep complex behaviour assisted living extra care service for vulnerable people. Time was taken to understand his behaviour. For the first time in his life, his autistic behaviour could be explained. That meant he could be taught to communicate when he feels anxious. He now has some personal control over his behaviour, and people like being with him. He actively enjoys playing football, cooking for himself and friends. His aggressive behaviour meant he could no longer live at home. He had to live in a secure long-stay hospital. The years went on. He learnt it wasn't safe to trust anyone, so his aggression kept people away. That was until he was moved into a specialised support for vulnerable people, where he began to learn it was okay to get on with people, enjoy his home and his community, so much so he moved on further with his support to his own apartment within a uStep complex behaviour assisted living extra care service. He has proved there is no place for institutional life. Instead, what matters to him is having real friends of his own choice, his own space where he can enjoy peace when he wants it. People no longer see him as being aggressive. At 12 years old, he contracted polio, resulting in involuntary movements and diminished motor coordination. They said he couldn't understand them. They said he couldn't communicate with them. They said he couldn't move himself. We listened and we understood that he could and did communicate. He could move with assistance and he could decide what he wanted to do. He moved into a uStep complex behaviour assisted living extra care service. And with the therapeutic support, he has learnt to maintain his independence, learn new skills and set up his own business. He now has control, communicating with friends and family. He lives the life he wants. Trying to cover his past, trying to forget the painful memories of living in a long-term hospital, his obsessional behaviours led him to feel that there was no other way but to hurt himself or kill himself by drinking harmful substances. He was searching for a way out. We saw his search, and we heard his cry for help. We understood the need for balance, exercise and strict routines to help him feel safe. We taught him to have confidence, develop strategies and learn to relax. Now happy and content, his behaviour has reduced. He lives in his own home as part of a uStep complex behaviour assisted living extra care service with routines that work for him.